This is Straight Talk with Enlivening Greg Fann, the Preacher Man, and his sidekick Shannon Jones. Frank discussions of issues affecting the ATL, Fulton County, the state of Georgia, the nation, and around the world. And now, here they are, live and in living color, the team of Jones and Fann, the Preacher Man.
Well, welcome to another edition of Straight Talk. How you doing, Shannon? Shannon E. Jones? Are you there? Are you listening?
Oh, these not headphones. I went out and got me some noise cancellation so I wouldn't have to hear all your off-colored comments.
Okay.
I'll read your lips from the screen.
Okay.
But don't think I can hear you. I ain't studying you
So
today.
let me just say this.
The noise cancellation.
Let me just say this to you. I appreciate you wearing my headphones that you didn't spend a dime for, and they are not noise cancellation.
You're gonna be that kind of friend.
Yes.
Tell everybody that I was too broke to get some headphones.
Well, the truth
Oh,
is,
how you like driving my car?
I don't.
Oh,
drive.
she like that shirt you wearing? Did you tell her it was mine?
They can look at you and me and tell it wasn't yours. But listen, Shannon and I, we've been called, that we wear this headset. This is a new thing for us, but we call them the basketball playoff games. We do sports commentators.
I'm not Marv Albert.
And I'm not Charles Barkley either.
Yeah, we do look like we're calling something up, you know.
Well, great game this week. All of them did good.
Oh, my
the
goodness.
Hawks did awesome.
Yeah.
They did awesome.
You see New York is trying to come for our boy Trey.
Yeah.
Yeah, the mayor jumped in it today.
Oh, man.
Yeah, well, he jumped in it this week. Yeah,
Right.
yeah, he didn't jump into it today.
Yeah, well, hey, you know, it is what it is. And my cousin, Walt Frazier, Clyde.
Walt Frazier, your cousin?
Oh, yeah.
Really?
For real. And, you know,
What
he's
happened?
been, huh?
What happened?
And that happened. He played basketball, and I went to the pulpit.
And drank a lot of coffee.
And a lot of coffee.
I mean, you didn't get that Walt height.
No.
Yeah.
I didn't get that high. I didn't get that high. But he calls, you know, the game.
I hope that's
for the
all
Knicks.
y'all have in common.
Yeah.
Is that you cousins.
Right.
Because that can be damaging to a pulpit career.
That's
But anyway.
true too. That's just true too. But he's been calling games for the Knicks for.
Oh, my man.
And I was saying the other day when the Hawks whooped the Knicks, and he had to have mixed emotions because he's from Atlanta, and he got to be proud of Atlanta.
Right.
And he played for the Knicks,
Right.
And of course he had to have mixed emotions.
Yeah.
The home
A
team.
very faithful member of the Abyssinian Baptist Church in Harlem. Your cousin.
Yeah, he is. I remember when we call him June. That's the family name. When he went and began to play for the Knicks, and when he came back home, he had his El Dorado. He was Clyde then.
I know that. They call him June. And
They didn't call him June no more. He Clyde, Walter Clyde Frazier.
And I imagine it was a nice elder.
Oh, what you talking about? we all, when he pulled up in it, we all kids ran to it.
I know you did. Forget the ice cream man. Eldos in the hood.
Well, look at ice cream man, strangely enough, was coming by. That's when they had the ice cream man on the bicycle, right?
Really?
Yeah, and of course they had
They had the little thing on the back of the bike, little fridge.
And they had the hunkies and the ice cream sandwich, the nutty buddy, the push-ups, you know.
Fred and Wilma.
No, we didn't have all that. I have all that. But that came along in your generation, not ours. And we over in Grady Homes. That's what my
Somebody
brother,
rode a bike with some ice cream through Grady Homes. And
No. Let me tell the
He
story.
actually got some money.
Let me tell the story. Will you let me tell the story? Jesus, will you let me listen? You'll learn. Listening is fundamental.
I can't hear you.
Yeah, right. But anyway, coming down Decatur Street, and my aunt, my two aunts, they lived, which was my daddy's mother's sister. They lived in Greater Home, and all of the family, we would go over there on the weekend or have family reunions there on the front lawn and on Greater Home. And when Walt came in his Eldo, all of us just took off and running. And when the ice cream man came, we all ran back asking for a nickel. Of our parents. So when the ice cream man got there.
Wait, y'all went to your parents for a nickel?
Yeah.
What's your parents said? You need to go get cousin Walt with that Eldo. He can buy the ice cream for you.
No, they did the parent thing. They gave us a nickel.
You know, real quick, when I was a kid, I worked at Burger King. You know that. I got fired.
Right. You got fired. That's right.
Yeah, but that's a real touchy subject. I was pausing to give you time because you know, like the kid me about that. But anyway, Evander used to come in, and soon as now people would be in there about to come eat. Soon as Evander come in with his body, his sheriff or whoever would, everybody was automatically broke. Now they was already there, coming to get some food. So this is what folk will say, stuff like this. I would like to get a junior Whopper and a small fry and a courtesy cup of water. If I could, I would get a whole Whopper, but I can't afford that. And so Evander would sit back and look, and then the kids would be saying, now we're gonna split these chicken nuggets, and Evander was, and he'd just buy everybody's food. And we had one white manager. He came and said, now this must stop. He said, y'all can't do this to this man. Now he came and hit an order or something. If you're here, you buy your own food or get out. He spent about $400-500. I'm serious. The people going outside talking about, girl, get in the Evander buying food. And he did too. He did.
But you know, those are kinds of stories that are not really being told by people who have gotten to a certain point in life financially, how they have reached back to him, like Tyler Perry would reach back to him, who does it every Christmas, buying toys and presents for kids and their family. And there are other stories that we're not telling and don't know. Because a lot of people do things, they don't do it for the TV screen. They do it because it's right in their heart to do right. They understand whatever you do for the least of them, you also do unto me.
Is that what the word says?
That's what it said. You know, when we were younger, that was a truth that used to be said. You can't outbe God giving,
no matter
because
how hard
the more you give, the more He's going to give to you.
That's right.
If you're a good
Just
steward,
keep on giving.
He's going to keep on giving you. Well, thank you so much. And, you know, Shannon and I, we call this Voice today. And as we get more into the program, we thank you so much for joining us. But we're going to have a lengthy conversation. And Shannon, I want to talk about, we always talk in politics, you know, and we're going to talk more about politics. But let's talk about why there's so much killing. You know, why is it so much, every time you hear something, somebody being killed, road rage, little kid this week riding with her mother in the back, a little boy in the back seat of the car, and somebody just riding down the street and shot him. For no apparent reason. Why is there so much killing? And the thought is killing. You know, when I grew up, my parents taught me, my mother in particular, said if you can't give a life, you don't take a life, and taught me what the Bible said, thou shalt not kill. And if you steal, you kill. If you lie, you steal. If you steal, you kill. Those are principles that my mother instilled in me as a child, and I carry that to this day, and to fear God. So, Shannon, what is your opinion about what's going on?
Man, I tell you, I've been having a lot of conversation with family and friends about the rise of all the shooting in our community right now. I think it goes back to the family unit. And I know that there are great systemic forces that are affecting African American communities. We can go no further than Jawanza Kunjufu's The Conspiracy to Destroy the African American Boy, book 1 and 2, where he talks about just the various things that happen between 4th grade and 7th grade with African American boys, how things began to shift in the period where they began to really step out into society and out of the cocoon of whatever the nurturing thing is. So, you know, there's a whole study on that, and I would encourage folks to go and read that work on that. But I think that we have to look at a lot of the development. Jawanza Kunjufu says that unfortunately in the African American family, we raise our daughters and we love our sons. You know, the son can always come back home. I left your room just the way you left it. And so there is a level of underdevelopment with all of the other societal forces. And then when you don't have gainful employment, when you learn false machoism from television, and
Key, let's stop there. TV is a big, major influence on killing. TV is a major influence on what we see now, and with this road rage, where we see people racing these cars in the street. TV, because people is bringing TV, what they see on TV, into everyday life.
And the absence of the black father. Both of us had that.
Right.
And here we are. And there have been many who haven't had that. And they've been able to place and do well. But there was a father figure somewhere.
In their life.
Whether
it was a school teacher or somebody, a preacher, somebody
was there. Even in Barack Obama's case,
right.
There was his grandfather that was there in his life. A woman can make a man, but she cannot
raise one.
A man. And let me just say this, and I'm gonna be quiet about this.
No, you're not. No, you're not. No, you want to say that. You know you're not going to be quiet.
But what kept me from
your dad is raw.
Driving my car fast.
Your dad is raw.
Doing donuts in the street.
Your dad is raw.
Cussing out, fighting,
stealing. Your dad is raw.
Was that my father literally fooled me. He fooled me enough to make me believe that he really would kill me.
No, he didn't fool you. He was for real.
No, it was in later years that I understood that he couldn't have done to me because of his love for me what I thought he would do.
That's why they used to tell you, this hurt me more than it hurt you.
And I didn't understand that.
Yeah.
But my father, so, you know, until I understood that I represent the Joneses when I went out, I understood that there was something that represented the Joneses that would deal with me if I went out and did certain things. And just in my development, my father and my uncles and my coaches and my pastor, and, you know, I had men in my life. And so this is a natural relationship for me. You know, some brothers, this would be a struggle because they wouldn't know even how to relate to you. But I've been dealing with I was raised by a man that's your age. You know what I mean? So the experiences that you bring are experiences that I understand. And when you don't have that and Hollywood raises you, then it takes you to the black exploitation. It takes you to false machoism. And so a gun is how I handle mine. Why? Because I wasn't trained by a father that taught me how to deal with conflict. I was trained by watching Belly at 2 o'clock in the morning and watching these drug movies and all this. And so you have to take territory. And so you're at war with everyone. So what we're seeing in society right now is unfortunately the brokenness of our community, coupled with all of the racist and societal systemic issues that we're dealing with. But we've always had these forces against us. You know, I said this on Concerned Black Clergy, and one of our members said, well, it could be the lead paint that was in the projects that causes children to be violent, this, that, and the other. And in the English Avenue, they're finding lead in the ground over there. And I believe that all of those environmental factors, Bishop, plays into it. But what we're seeing in our community right now is an absence, I can't say that, I was about to say, is an absence of the presence of the African American family, the African American church partnering with the family and feeding the family and equipping the family to raise children in that family to be productive citizens of our society.
Well, I agree with you that you're right, because we sit down as a family to watch Father Knows Best, Rawhide, Steve McQueen, Wanted Dead or Alive. You know, we sit down as a family to watch TV. So if there were certain things shown on TV, our parents would talk to us about this or that while we were watching it.
Or close your eyes.
Or close your eyes, Yeah, but our parents would do that. They would be that guide. But the parents now are absent, and we go into a dish station,
and this is the television.
And the TV, the computer, and the phone, the computer, TV. I mean, but when you have latchkey kids, where there is a mother and father in the home, let's be clear. See, my mother was in the home, my daddy was in the home, and my mother may have worked at this time and got off later than my dad, but my dad came home when he got off, and the first thing he wanted to know, have you learned your timetables? Have you read this? You know, he would be the one making sure we did our homework. Didn't know that he couldn't read, but the reality of it is he was going to make sure we could read, you know. But these parents now, they have to work 2 and 3 jobs, husband and wife. You know, they ain't even seeing each other. Let's not talk about seeing the kids. Because when you're making a minimum wage, and I do mean minimum wage, if you talk about the jobs that they're hiring people down, they keep talking about we hiring folks, we need to hire people. Well, you paying $10 an hour. $10 an hour, 40 hours a week, that's $320 a week before taxes. Right? So after taxes, what do you have? And then if you work overtime, that means on that job, that means you may be making what, a little over 4, maybe. And then you now take it home to 3, and you got child care, you got rent, you got groceries, that light bill, gas bill, water bill. Because now, if you live in an apartment, you got to pay water bill. You used to didn't have to. But these things are a part of the problem of our society today.
What was your chore?
Oh, many. Many. I had many chores. Wash the dishes, carry out the garbage, and first when you get up, make up your bed. That was first thing. Then, you know, you had to wash dishes, and you didn't wash them right, you're going to have to wash them all over again, carry out the garbage, dig up the garden, cut the grass. We didn't have the lawnmowers. We had scissors. We had to cut the grass with scissors. We didn't even have the old push kind of bladed one. We had to cut grass with scissors.
Garden scissors?
No, they were smaller. They was just scissors. We did. I mean, but really, when I tell people,
I'm just trying to see Greg Fann out there with some
well, that's why I told him, like I told you that story today with my aunt said, when Gravy said he get older, he get him a briefcase job.
He ain't messing around with it.
Messing around.
But you had, so you saw your mother and father work.
I did.
So you saw the value of work. Now some people say, well, I ain't gonna do that. I'm gonna get me a briefcase job. I ain't gonna work as hard as they.
Right.
But I'm gonna work.
Right.
But then you had the chores.
Right.
So my first chore, which was yours too, you didn't say it, but your first chore was your schoolwork.
Oh yeah.
That was the first.
I didn't see that as a chore.
Because they would beat you and tell you now. They tell you all you got to do is you
go
bring
to
home
school.
a bad report card. All you got to do is go to school.
But
I would get smart with my see how they had my older brothers had to take me aside and say you got to learn what to say. See, you got your butt beat because you don't know what to say. Now, first of all, your report card wasn't strong, and then they said to you, all you got to do is study. And then you say, no, I ain't all I got to do. I got to feed the dog. I got to mop the floor. I got to clean the back patio and sweep it up. And I got to go out and pull the weeds in between the rocks. I got more to do than just schoolwork. And next thing I know, I'll be getting up off the floor. Half of what I just said to you, I probably said it from my subconscious mind. But I had chores.
Yeah, but they said, and
I didn't get paid. I didn't get paid.
Yeah.
I didn't get because I didn't get an allowance.
You didn't?
You kidding me? You know what my allowance was?
What?
Cut that light on. You see that? That's allowance. Go want some water, go cut that on.
Oh.
You see that? That's allowance. That's what I got. No, I didn't get that. So, but they did eventually tell me, how to deal with money.
Right.
But I didn't get allowance, And then one time I went to my dad and said, I want a microphone stand and a microphone and an amp. He said, how you gonna get it? And so I had to go do a bunch of odd jobs around the neighborhood to get it. And then he took me to go buy it. He said, I could have given you the money for this, no problem. He said, but doesn't it feel much better that you got the money on your own to do that? Daddy's not always gonna be here. And you got to know how when you want something in life,
you got to work.
Make it happen. And he looked at me and he said, men make things happen. And I never forgot that. Now, my sisters would not understand. Well, women do too. Yes, they do. But he was telling me, man to man, that men make things happen. And it reminded me of in Scripture when Jesus told the disciples, they said, send them home, He said, so they can get something to eat. And Jesus said, you give them something to eat. And that reminded me of what my father said. In other words, what do we have? And take what we have, the gifts that we have, and make things happen. That's a message I think is missing from a lot of our young men today.
Well, I want to say that. I would go back and make comments about what you said, even though you said you weren't going to say anything else. I'll make a comment about that too. But
about that.
But I didn't see going to school as a chore. My parents didn't make that as a chore for me. They made it as a responsibility.
Yeah.
It's your responsibility to go to school and get an education. Mm-hmm. It's your, that's what the message they told me. It's yours. They put the onus on me, not on them. It's your responsibility. I'm feeding you, I'm clothing you, I'm taking care of everything you need. So it's your responsibility to go to school and get an education. So I didn't see that as a chore. I saw that as my responsibility, what I had to do for me. And that's what they taught me. And that this is what you need to do for you. You got to do some things for yourself. And the primary thing to do is for you to now to get a good education, right?
Yeah.
So that's why I didn't.
Because if you don't do that for yourself,
right,
then what?
I'm going to hinder myself in life.
Then we're both going to the hospital. You for your pain and suffering, and me to get my foot out of your behind. I put it.
I've been working for you, and then you ain't go to school. And one of the other things,
they beat you. They tell you, they tell you. And as hard as I'm working, and I got to do this and that, and you got one thing to do to get to, and I'm getting there getting beat up. But I got more than one thing to do. I got to feed the dog.
Get this. My parents would look at the grades last. The thing that they were looking at was the conduct. See, they don't do conduct grades like they did when we was coming up. I don't think they still do. But our parents, the first thing they would do, they would look at the conduct. Because if you cutting up in school, and I'm working and I'm doing this, all you got to do for yourself is to go to school, but you're going to go to school and be a clown. And they didn't tolerate bad conduct. They did not tolerate bad conduct. If I got to take time off of my job to come here and deal with your conduct, now it's a problem. And it was a problem, but it never happened for me because I never gave them that kind of problem. You know. But because I had that fear, they put that fear in me. You don't do that. If I got to lose 1 day, 1 hour.
And now it seems like parents are afraid of their children.
They are.
My parents I never had, for one moment, I never thought that my father. Well, because he would tell us, I brought you into this world.
I'll take you out.
And I'll take you out.
Absolutely.
And he said, like, well, he was just cool with it, you know, like like on a Western.
Yeah.
I brought you in this world.
Son, and I'll take you out.
And I'll take you out.
And he meant it too.
Yeah, and or his other ones, if you want to be an actor, then if you want to go to Hollywood, I'll be your blank director. And but they didn't play. So I always had to think about stuff, and when I would see stuff at Mays High School that young guys would get caught up in, I was just saying, man, you better be glad your father
is not
Horace Eugene Jones Jr., because this will be a very long night and weekend for you. You know, he didn't play, and he told us that he wanted us to learn consequences. He said that what's missing today from a lot of young men is that they don't understand the consequences. And so then the state will say you can't beat the child, but they'll shoot them.
True.
They'll beat them with a billy club.
True.
And if they do enough wrong, they'll put them on a gurney and stick a needle in their arm and kill them by lethal injection.
True. Or put their knee on their neck.
Or put the knee on the neck. And kill them or shoot them down as they've been doing. So my father would always, he believed in being harsh in consequences. He would overdo it so that to correct you from even getting in your mind that you could go that way. So I didn't fear the police in the sense that a lot of folks did. I feared having to face my father. And you know what? It wasn't his beating, right?
It was his talking.
It was that I disappointed him.
Yeah, but it's that talk though.
Yeah.
That talk is worse because you know you disappointed. Yeah. And then there was time when you know you did something and you got to go home and get that talk. You dreading it, taking it as slow as you can to get there. Because you know that talk is going to come. See, that's what's missing is in our society today. There's no fear of father, mother, because the mother and father fighting over the child.
Right.
And the mother talking about their dad, and your dad ain't no good. Your dad talking about your mom ain't no good. I mean, all of this.
Beating the children in the store as though you know, that they've messed up your, you know, it's like, I watch mothers and you know, sometimes it's like I see young mothers beat their children, and what it comes from is a real kind of a resentment.
For the father.
For the father, for the child, for having to not enjoy life to the way they were, because they're having to deal with these.
But you know, Shannon,
that systemically begins to play out. You sitting up beating a child in the store and embarrassing him, and then you wonder why this child becomes so violent.
Well, he's not afraid of anything, because you're subjecting him to things like crowds. You beating him in a crowd. So he's not afraid of anything. He'll take the beating in front of the crowd and won't even cry. But you know, there are more fathers.
They cry. These beatings I see, but go ahead.
Yeah, okay. Some of them won't. I know one or two of them that did. But what you see today is, based on what you said, a lot of the women, they're walking away and leaving the child with the father, or with their mama, or with their grandmama, or with anybody who will take them. And so a part of that, the child is confused, because you as a child, we love our dads, and our dads were great men in their own right? But it was always something about mama. That mama connection for any child, and if they don't have that, you see the kinds of things that are happening, because mama gone somewhere. I ain't want to be bothered with you, and that child looking for that nurturing from their mother, and they're not getting it, you know. Yeah. And that's another part of the problem. They're not getting in the nurture. They've been in that mother's womb for 9 months. They've been close with their mama for 9 months.
Being nurtured by nature.
By nature. And so there's a connection between the mother and the child. But the mother, many of the mothers don't want it. They're giving the children away to anybody that'll take them.
Now let me shift and go to the government's role when we talk about the systemic issues. So,
can we take a break?
Yeah.
Let's take a break, and then we'll come back, because you know Shannon can talk for days, but he'll preach a sermon in a minute. But we're gonna go out, take a break, take a Black History Fact break, and deal with Juneteenth with our Solicitor General, Keith Gamage. We'll be back with more Straight Talk with yours truly, Greg Fann, the Preacher Man, and Shannon E. Jones. Greg Fann, the Preacher Man, with Brother James Grooms and Black History Facts, right here on Straight Talk.
Meet Claudette Colvin, an unknown, unacknowledged pioneer of the 1950s civil rights movement. Born Claudette Austin in Birmingham, Alabama in September of 1939, her father, C.B. Austin, abandoned his family, leaving Claudette's mother, Mary Jane Austin, unable to financially support Claudette and her younger sister, Delphine. This resulted in Claudette and her sister being taken in by their great-aunt and uncle, Mary Ann and Q.P. Colvin. Claudette and her sister Delphine always referred to the Colvins as their parents and went so far as to take their last name. In 1952, just after the death of her sister Delphine to polio, Claudette Colvin started attending segregated Booker T. Washington High School in Montgomery, Alabama. By not having a car, Claudette relied on the city buses to get to and from school. Now, Claudette, who was a member of the NAACP Youth Council, had been hearing as well as learning about the fledgling civil rights movement in and out of school. It was while she was a member of the Youth Council that Claudette Colvin met and formed a very close relationship with her future mentor, Rosa Parks. On March 2nd, 1955, Claudette Colvin was returning home from school, sitting in the designated colored section at the rear of the bus. Now, under Alabama's bus segregation laws, if a bus became so crowded with all the white seats taken to the point that the white passengers would have to stand, then African American passengers were supposed to get up and make room for the white passengers by moving or standing further to the back. Now, when a white woman got onto Claudette's bus and had to stand in the aisle, the white bus driver promptly commanded that Claudette and another pregnant African American female passenger get up and move to the back. Well, the pregnant passenger told the bus driver that she was not going to get up and that, quote, "I've paid my fare and I don't feel like standing," end quote. Claudette Colvin immediately responded likewise by stating that she wasn't going to get up either. The bus driver notified the police, and when they arrived on scene, convinced a black male passenger who was sitting directly behind the two women to move further back so that the pregnant passenger could move back, in which she did. But Claudette Colvin still refused and was forcibly removed from the bus and promptly arrested. Now, it must be noted here that this event took place 9 months before Rosa Parks was famously arrested for the exact same offense. Claudette Colvin was charged with violating segregation laws, disturbing the peace, and assaulting a police officer. And she was convicted on all 3 charges, but the disturbing the peace and the segregation law violations, they were dropped on appeal on May 6, 1955, although her police assault conviction was upheld. Many of Montgomery's African-American civil rights leaders, including famed civil rights attorney Fred Gray, took on Claudette Colvin's bus segregation case, but Claudette Colvin's case was immediately dropped by these civil rights campaigners when it was learned that 15-year-old Claudette Colvin had become pregnant out of wedlock, and that happened during these proceedings. It was widely understood by the civil rights campaigners that in 1955, if the Southern white press had gotten a hold of this information, they would have had a field day calling her a loose, bad girl, and her case would not have had a chance. Well, Claudette Colvin did give birth to a son, Raymond, in March of 1956, and after being branded a troublemaker, Claudette left Montgomery for New York in 1958, where she eventually found work as a nurse's aide in a nursing home in Manhattan before retiring in 2004. That's Claudette Colvin. They forget all about her, but we won't.
It's been Black History Facts with Brother James Groom right here on Straight Talk. Join us each and every Friday at 7 p.m. right here on YouTube and Facebook.
If you're a resident of Fulton County, this Juneteenth could mean a different kind of second chance for you or your family. Register now through April 30th so that your records can be restricted so you can be a part of the Juneteenth expungement celebration happening June 17th and June 18th. Why you care?
I think the role of a prosecutor should be to look back to try and remedy past wrongs that have occurred in our unfair criminal justice system.
In Georgia, 10 million people, 4.3 million, 40% of the population have a criminal record. 40%.
In Georgia?
40.
Is that the biggest? What is that?
It's one of the biggest in the country. Nationally, it's about 25%.
I also want to clear up this notion that there's this big gap between the Jewish community and the Black community, because there are lots of African American Jews. So we're not just doing this out of a sense of charity. This is because it is the righteous thing to do. It is the right thing to do, and also because people in our community are folks who might get caught up in just because of the color of their skin.
And I saw so many people and have seen so many people who were much more talented, but for whatever reason they made missteps. And I got to see so many people who were good people ensnared in the criminal justice system. When I went to college, some of them went to jail.
Wow, man.
They were better athletes than me. They were better students than me. But for whatever reason, God had his hands on me.
Wow.
And so I'm looking back at those people now, and I have this great God-given opportunity to try and help.
So we serve a God of redemption, and we often have people who are falling, right, because of systems that man has built. And God has already given them their second, third, and fourth chance, but there are laws in place that say you can't get food stamps if you have this type of conviction. You can't live at this place if you have this on your record. And so what we're doing with this event is removing that barrier, right, for people to actually experience what God has already given them.
Register now at FultonRestorativeJustice.org. That's FultonRestorativeJustice.org. Or call the restriction hotline if you have any questions, 404-612-4820.
Well, Shannon, I tell you, great Black History fact. Thank Brother James Broom. He does an excellent job on those Black History facts.
Just makes it come alive.
Alive. And we will need you to, if you know anyone who needs to be expunged, the record, misdemeanor now, not a felony. Hey, contact the folks at the Fulton County Solicitor General's office and get registered to get your record expunged. Won't you do that?
That's a game changer.
That's a game changer.
I know many people that have done that.
Do what now?
I said I know many people that have gotten their expungement, and it's really changed their lives. So don't sleep on this. Be there.
Please be there. And one other thing, this Saturday at 12:30, from 12:30 to, they will be giving shots here at the Liberty International Church for the COVID vaccine shot that we're giving, the Pfizer shots. They'll do it this Saturday, and then they'll do it July the 19th. So for your second dose. And we're here at 1362 Metropolitan Parkway in the lovely city of Atlanta, Georgia. And you don't have to register to get your shot.
Take the shot.
Please take the shot. Won't you do it? They're talking about people giving away lottery tickets and doing all these things.
Somebody got $1 million for getting the shot.
Yeah, that's crazy. I mean, really, you ought to want to do this for yourself.
Yeah, but if you're going to give me $1 million for it.
So you say you wish you would have waited?
No, I'm going to get the shot. But if I
mean, you wish you would have waited?
I wouldn't have given
you ain't got the shot yet?
Oh, I got my shots.
Okay,
but I'm saying if I would have gotten $1 million for getting the shot, ain't like I'm going to give it back or nothing like that. I wouldn't think it was crazy. I think it was a blessing. I'd be shouting all over this place.
Okay, so
I got you.
So you would have wanted to get paid for something that's to help you?
No, I don't want to get paid, but if they paid me to get the shot for $1 million, I would take the shot and the $1 million.
Well, let's move on. Let's move on. Please, let's move on.
And you would too.
Let's keep moving on.
Don't give me the $1 million. I'll just give me the shot.
Just give him the shot. Please give him the shot. Do something for yourself. Come on out on this Saturday from 12:30 to 2:30 and get your shot. If you haven't gotten it, get it. Do it for yourself and do it for others too.
That's right.
Now, Shannon, I want to finish the discussion we had briefly because I have another topic.
Oh, well, let me just quickly say that in the welfare system, it broke down the family in a way, particularly the African-American family, because it monetized the man. You were the provider, and you were only as good as what you could provide. If you couldn't get a job because and I'm going back to Jawanza Kunjufu and the issues that of what that science was. But if your woman or your wife could get the job, you couldn't. You were still in the home as father. You searched for a job, but you did the role of daddy. But in the welfare system, it said you can't get the welfare if the man
is in
the house. And that lingered in a way that it monetized what a man's value was based on what he could financially provide. And if he couldn't give money, then what good was it? Ain't nothing going on but the rent. You got to have a job if you want to be with me. And many times in our families, we've always had to pull together. And sometimes daddy wasn't working, but daddy was still daddy. And there was still value there as daddy was searching for gainful employment. So it's a lot about this breakdown of the family and the systemic, but I'm basing this on the 1980s work of Jawanza Kunjufu, which I think is still relevant today, where he talked about the conspiracy to destroy the African American boys.
What do you think when you just telling the story? My mind went to Good Times with James and Florence.
Exactly,
right?
Perfect example.
That was a man that was there, but many times he didn't have a job.
Yeah.
But he was the father and the man of that house.
Could you imagine what that family, what JJ and Michael would have turned out if they didn't have James Evans in the house? And I think you recognize it because when James died, Florida said, damn, damn, damn.
Yep.
You know.
Yeah. But that's the paralysis of the analysis, but we really want to share with you that we must be God-fearing. We must get the Word of God in us, and we must abide by the Word of God. And we must move back to moral values and move away from the tangible and move to the intangible. What do you mean? Not the tangible thing that we can touch, but the intangible thing that we believe in, and that's God Almighty, who said in His Word, and I stress this and emphasize, He said, no good thing would be withheld from those who love me and that are called according to my purpose. So you don't have to focus on earthly things. So what profit a man to gain the whole world and lose the most important thing?
His own soul.
Your soul. Your soul. When we talked about the choice, what was most important thing? What's the most important thing to you? Is it the car that you're going to leave for somebody else, or the house you're going to leave to somebody else, the money in the bank you're going to leave to somebody else, or is it where your soul going to spend eternity? So
I've never seen one of them hearses with a moving truck behind it.
Oh, yeah.
Well, with all the people's stuff traveling with them.
Look at it, wasn't behind the hearse, but it came later.
Can't take it with you.
You can't take it with you. Can't take it with you. But Shannon, I want to talk a little bit in politics in terms of this mayoral race in Atlanta that's heating up. Man, I tell you, everybody and their grandmother is talking about running for the mayor of the city of Atlanta.
My dog said he was running. I told him I couldn't support him. I didn't think he had enough experience, like many of the other people that's trying to jump in the race.
Let's just analyze, as we're now left basketball. Now we're analyzing.
Yeah, let's analyze.
We're analyzing politics.
They're traveling.
So what do you have to say about that, Scottie Pippen?
So I'm not gonna call names yet.
Well, I will. It's straight talk. I'm calling names.
I'm not going to call names yet because I think in a lot of the cases, the media has pushed some people, like Steve Coonan's, like I'm not in this race. So the media has thrown some people.
You just called a name, but that's not going on.
Yeah.
You say you wasn't called.
So he wasn't in it, right? So I think he was safe, right? But there's some others that are getting pushed into the race, and I just think that everything in life is a rhythm, man, you know. And sometimes when you say wait your time, it's not necessarily that you have to slave in a position forever, because, you know, Barack Obama wouldn't have been president had he waited his time, a junior senator just coming into the United States. But he caught the rhythm of what it was, and then some other things lined up for him in terms of what the party was doing and what Kennedy was going to do in terms of supporting him and others, and the Democratic establishment went with him and wanted to do that. But right now in Atlanta, I see some folks jumping into the race, and I think they're good folks, great at where they are. Some of them are. And
I just finished to say,
yeah,
not all
some
of
them are.
They did nothing where they are.
Yeah. But they need to stay there and develop to the place that I don't think the rhythm is there for some of those. And I suppose you'll see them dropping out of the race soon. But we'll call names. I will, as this thing progresses a little more, after I see how serious folk really are.
Well, I'm going to call some names, and some people I think that shouldn't even be thinking about it. Antonio Brown, for one. I don't think that he needs to even be thinking about running for the mayor of the city. You just got on the council. You haven't been 2 good years on the council.
And he's got some legal issues.
Right, but even beyond that, you just getting there. You just learned where the bathroom was.
Right.
So why are you talking about running for mayor of the city? If you want to run for mayor, maybe you should have ran the last time, not ran for council, because what you're going to do, leave those people in that district disadvantaged, because you just now haven't quite learned your role. Then you're going to run for an office that you got to learn that role, and the person who take your place, they got to learn their role. So you crippling the constituency. So that's one. I don't think you ought to run. Andre Dickinson. I don't think Andre ought to run. I think that if he's considered in that, I think he needs to consider staying where he is, or even perhaps run for president of the city council.
Would you have said that Kasim should have run?
At the time when he ran,
Now,
yes.
Why Kasim and not an Andre?
Because let me just say, Kasim had been a state rep. He had been a state senator. Now we're talking about the correlation with Kasim under the Demon Dome. Mm-hmm. And then his desire was to run for mayor because he was working with Shirley the whole time when she was mayor.
Okay, so Dickerson, who's a classmate of mine from Mays High School.
And what that mean to me?
I'm just saying, when you
what does that mean to me?
I'm just identifying the fact that he's a 47-year-old man who has been an activist in his community.
For real?
He's not new to, all activism doesn't lead to our road.
Right,
but there's other activism. There's folks over here talking about don't eat Twinkies between 12 and 7.
I just said, really, you're supposed to be telling me stuff
and
calling names.
Hold on.
Then you calling names.
You called Dickerson's name.
And
you called Dickerson's name. No, you called it. And I asked you what was the difference between him and Kasim. But I said a 47-year-old man, so he's not a kid.
Okay.
He's been an activist. Georgia Tech University, is he a professor?
I don't know what he is.
Graduate, professor, or something. CEO or COO of a company in Atlanta. And he's been on the council for how long? I think
this is second term.
2 terms.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's far-fetched that he should be running for mayor. He's certainly older than Maynard Jackson was when he ran. But, so go ahead, I'm listening.
I already said, I gave my analysis of paralysis. I can't help because he's one of your alumnus, and I'm going to still stick with my position. I think now I'm going to go over to the president of the city council. Those people that are running, that I know they're running, that have announced.
You didn't say nothing about another young man that folks are talking about should be running for mayor of a different hue.
Oh, really? I don't heard that person. I haven't heard.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm not calling names.
I haven't heard that person.
But he's from the north side.
But I would just say this, since you said that, I don't think Kasim ought to be running again. Mm-hmm. If you want,
is he running again?
I mean, if he can go seriously.
That's what I'm saying. The media is throwing people out there.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, I'm saying that I don't think he ought to run again. That's what I say. No matter what the media say, we're part of the media, right? So
we shouldn't throw him out there. The man ain't said he was going to run again.
Well, I'm just saying, if he's considering it,
you don't even want him to consider it.
Don't consider it.
Okay, why?
Stay at home.
Why?
You've done your job. You've done what you could do.
I'm not saying I disagree with you. I just want to hear your argument.
Yeah, we are all good. He's done what he needs to do. Stay home. Like someone said today.
But tell me why, because you got a reason you want them to stay home.
Let me say something.
It's straight talk now.
That's straight talk.
You got a reason you want them to stay home.
I'm trying to make my point, but you
come
won't
on,
let me
Pat.
make it. You want me to make it. You want me to hold on. You won't let me make my point.
Come on, Alley Pat.
Like someone said today, is you've done your job. You've done a fairly decent job for many on some side, not on all sides. And you protected that interest. Now stay at home. My problem.
Did you say the same thing about Maynard when he ran for a third term?
No, I didn't say that. I didn't say that. I don't.
You didn't tell Maynard to stay home.
I didn't say that.
No, I'm asking.
I didn't say that.
I'm asking.
I said I didn't say that. Okay. Did I say I didn't say that?
Why didn't you say it?
Because I felt Maynard was more in tune with the community and working with the community than Kasim. I thought
you had some that had a different view.
Well, that's fine. That's fine.
Particularly after missing and murdered children.
We all got our opinions.
Am I right or wrong?
I don't know. I don't know who that
You was there.
I don't know who Drew was.
You were there. I was busy trying not to get missing and murdered. But you was an adult.
Yeah,
so you was active in politics.
Very much so.
Okay.
But I would say this again, is that Maynard did a lot of things to help black people when he was the mayor.
And Kasim didn't.
I would say no.
Okay, well that's why I wanted to know why you said for him to stay home.
Oh, so you want to go around Brother's
I just want to get some straight talk. Can I get some straight talk
on
a Friday night? That's all I want to know. Can I get some straight talk?
I'm giving you nothing but straight talk.
See, it ain't always kumbaya with us. We have some.
Oh yeah, we have
to knock down, drag out debate.
Kumbaya. But listen, Robin.
When I get to be Batman, why I always got to be Robin?
But I don't think he should run. I think that, the disadvantage of the West Side and how the West Side has been raped, some people would feel like it's improvement. And there is improvement, but how it has displaced people in the community. Like now, they're talking about closing down Washington Park, which was the first black park established for black people, was Washington Park. Now, because whites are moving in the community, they want the park closed. Because black people are still doing in the park what they were doing in the park by playing baseball and picnics. Yes.
What did Albert Love say about the people when they get elected to the position?
What did he say?
You said when Albert Love said when folks, I think McDonald might have quoted this, it's a paraphrase, but basically, if they win the votes, they got the right to govern the way they want to govern. If they buy up the community, and we let them buy up the community, or we move out of the community, or we don't invest in our community and others come in and buy it up from under us, then they unfortunately have the right to erase us from the picture. If we're forfeiting our communities to those who are coming in through gentrification.
Many people are not forfeiting. Many of the people have been bought out.
No, I understand that as well. But they ain't been bought out. They've been sold out.
Okay.
They ain't been bought out.
Sold out by who?
Sold out by who?
Sold out
by handkerchief head Negroes that are down there at City Hall and in the legislature.
Kasim Reed, and not only Kasim Reed, but others too.
Yeah.
I mean, so let's be clear.
And when money was on the table to help them keep their homes, that money went to corporations and consultants and people like that, and it didn't come
down like it's supposed to. Absolutely. So you know what? We can agree on one thing today. that money sure didn't get to people it's supposed to get to. Just like G-Dot money. Just like G-Dot
G-Dole.
G-Dole money.
Georgia Department of Labor.
Yeah, just like the money hasn't gotten down to the people.
Where is the money?
Where is the money?
Billions
of dollars.
Billions of dollars.
And no real accountability. No real accountability. Right? Okay. So, Shannon, one of the things
Emma Darnell said, follow the money.
Follow the money. She was right. One thing that I want to say before we close out. In Fulton County today, they received $209 million from the federal government to help during this pandemic, to help people get back right side up, right? And Commissioner Khadija Abdul-Rahman is trying to get that
say
money.
her name right now.
Thank you. Get that. She told me the same thing. but she's trying to get that money back to the people.
Better. Rock.
Well, I'm glad. I know you got to rock wilder.
Rockman.
You got to rock wilder, so you can say that. She has the tenacity, the courage to stand up for the people. We need more elected peoples to stand up for the people. You go in to say that you're going to represent the people, you're going to stand up and fight for the people, but you get up there and you sell the people out. And I'm going to call some names. We'll end this program after this. People like Kim Schofield, Sandra Scott.
Yeah.
People like Khadija Abdul-Rahman, people like Natalie Hall. Those are people that
Viola Davis. State representative.
These are people that I have seen
William Biden.
to do that. William Bodie. These are people that I have seen that do that. Because I've seen a lot of these politicians, people get in there, they give you this star story, and then they get to be as arrogant and stuck up, and it's all about them. And I can call some name by some of them, but I ain't gonna call it today. But I will, Deborah Boys Mo. But so many people get in there, they forget how they got there.
Well, let me tell you.
People put you in, and people will take you out.
We've been reaching out to some of our federal officials.
Yeah, come on now.
To be with us on June the 1st, this is Friday, so Saturday, Sunday, Monday's the holiday. 9 a.m. on the 1st, we're going down to the Georgia Department of Labor, because those doors are still locked. Everything's open now. The games, people are packed in there, but the Georgia Department of Labor is closed. People are getting ready to lose their homes. Cars are being towed away, and we're just facing a real situation of absolute emergency and strife. So we've been reaching out to our federal officials. Can't find them, some of them. Or they can't make it, or they can't make it.
But you can make it when you want us to vote.
But when they wanted us to vote for them, they could make it. So I'm straight talk, but I'm gonna call some names in a minute. I'm just doing some research now.
Okay.
Before I come out, because straight talk is truth talk. Too.
Right.
Shouldn't be no shenanigans.
Right.
I don't want to tell the people something that
ain't true.
Yeah. But Hank Johnson said he'd be with us. Hank Johnson said that Congressman Hank Johnson would be with us with these Georgia workers on the 1st at 9:00 a.m. for the unemployed workers rally.
And let me say this, and then we will close out. For those people who say that, these people don't want to work, if you were in their position and you had to work 2 or 3 jobs, and the job that they're offering now, paying $10, $11 an hour, jobs that you would work on. You got to think about the people, the child care, the issues they're faced with, the rent, the light bill, the gas bill, the grocery. Now some people may be duping this system, but everybody is not. So you can't let the good suffer with the bad.
I don't know if that could be seen.
What is that?
It says $5.15
an hour. That's the state minimum wage. Georgia,
which is the lowest in the entire nation.
The lowest.
By far.
$5.
Federal is $7.25.
Right.
The livable wage in the state of Georgia is $28. I made $4 at Burger King 30 years ago. $4.
Well, I want to clarify that. The $15, $5.15 that you're showing now, I wrestle with that as a union leader. That's for people who work in the restaurant industries. Okay. That's their minimum wage, right? But it still is the state minimum wage. But the federal minimum wage is $7.35. But you can't live out. But I give you
a gallon of gas is $3.
Yeah, I know, but I had a breakdown as when the last time the federal minimum wage was raised.
2009, wasn't it?
Yeah, but the intervals, the years, how many years it took between all of the wage increases from a federal level. I will talk about that at some other time. I share that with you. Again, thank you so much for joining us, Shannon and I. We have great fun having this program, and now that we are in our headset, we are really having fun.
Yeah.
I want to wish you and hope that you have a great Memorial Day, a holiday, Monday. And remember, it is to honor those individuals who served our country. And it's not about just eat barbecue, getting with family members and friends, but let's honor those servicemen and women who gave their lives and those who gave up time in their lives to be able to make sure we still lived in a country that was based upon freedom. So with that being said, Shannon, what you want to say?
I'm going to honor the soldiers. I'm going to have some barbecue. You want a moment of silence, or what were you thinking that we should do? You said remember. I'm trying to see how you want us to, because we're going to eat some barbecue. This is black folk. This is straight talk. So we're going to eat some barbecue. Now we're going to honor the Gold Star families and all of those veterans but this is basically the Gold Star families. We're going to honor them, but we're going to eat some barbecue. And some folk going to do something else, some folk.
Well, I shouldn't
have even asked them.
I shouldn't have even asked them. I want to say to our veterans,
pious.
I want to say this to our veterans. I do honor you.
Yes, we do.
For your service.
Thank you.
And again, check us out right here on what?
Straight Talk.
Want to be a guest on Straight Talk? Email Craig Fann at FANN922 at Comcast.net or call 404-308-0795. Join us again for another episode of Straight Talk with Shannon Jones and Greg Fann, the Preacher Man.